Sean "Diddy" Combs was once an untouchable figure in the entertainment industry, a man celebrated not just for his music, but also for his vast business empire and lavish lifestyle. But now, the iconic rapper and entrepreneur finds himself facing shocking accusations that could send him to prison for the rest of his life. Prosecutors allege Combs operated like a modern-day crime boss, using his power and influence to run a disturbing enterprise of forced labor, violence, and SA. At the heart of this high-profile case is a woman identified only as Mia, a former personal assistant who has come forward with deeply troubling accusations. Mia claims Combs repeatedly harmed her, physically, sexually, and psychologically, painting a terrifying picture of manipulation and toxic control hidden behind fame and fortune. But as these harrowing allegations shook the courtroom, Combs and his legal team began an aggressive pushback, unearthing a trove of past social media posts aimed at challenging Mia's credibility and undermining her heartbreaking testimony. From the witness stand, Mia detailed a harrowing story of control, intimidation, and harmful acts. Her voice trembling yet defiant, she described how Combs allegedly terrorized her for years, throwing objects at her in fits of rage, issuing chilling threats, and creating an environment of constant fear. Most disturbingly, she recounted 3 separate occasions where she says Combs SA'd her, including a horrifying incident where she was taken advantage of while she was in her sleep at his Los Angeles mansion. Mia painted a devastating portrait of mistreatment, revealing how she felt trapped by Combs's powerful influence, unable to speak out or escape. Her testimony was raw and emotional, leaving jurors visibly shaken and casting a dark shadow over Combs' carefully curated public image. Yet just as Mia's testimony seemed to seal a damning narrative, Combs's defense team launched a counterattack, questioning whether Mia's past statements about her former employer truly matched her claims of trauma and mistreatment. As Mia's gripping testimony filled the courtroom with tension, Combs' legal team fired back with a bold strategy, turning Mia's own words against her. Defense attorney Brian Steele meticulously brought forward a collection of Mia's past social media posts, glowing tributes that appeared to show genuine admiration and affection toward Combs. One Instagram post even celebrated Combs as the good kind of crazy and thanked him for his friendship. Steele confronted Mia relentlessly, implying that her previous praise contradicted her claims of traumatic mistreatment. The courtroom watched closely as Mia faced tough questions. How could someone express such warmth and gratitude toward a person she now accused of serious allegations? Combs's lawyer pressed hard, attempting to portray her accusations as inconsistent, exaggerated, or even false. The trial shifted dramatically as jurors were left to grapple with the complex reality of Mia's relationship with Combs, wondering if the truth was more complicated than initially revealed. Facing intense scrutiny under cross-examination, Mia stood her ground, passionately explaining the psychological complexity behind her earlier praise. Animated and unwavering, she described how Combs' alleged harm created a powerful emotional roller coaster. A cycle of terrifying lows punctuated by occasional highs that kept her trapped and confused. "It's psychological abuse," she told the jury firmly, pushing back against the lawyer's insinuations. Mia revealed how, despite her public posts appearing cheerful and appreciative, her private reality was starkly different, one of fear, desperation, and manipulation. She emphasized that praising Combs online was often not a choice, but a means of survival in his carefully controlled world. Mia's powerful words underscored an essential truth. The dynamics of toxic control are rarely simple, and outward appearances can mask deeper suffering. The defense doubled down, introducing another deeply personal piece of evidence, a scrapbook Mia created for Combs' 45th birthday. Decorated warmly with heartfelt messages, the scrapbook seemed entirely at odds with her accusations of mistreatment. Combs's attorney pressed her relentlessly. "Why create something so affectionate for someone you claim destroyed your life?" Mia responded forcefully, explaining how abuse victims often struggle with complex, conflicted emotions. She described her younger self as manipulated, confused, and desperately trying to survive within a toxic environment. Mia told jurors this scrapbook wasn't proof of a happy relationship. It was evidence of the confusing cycle of emotional dependence and psychological control that defined her time working with Combs. The courtroom's attention sharpened even further when the defense presented deeply troubling texts Mia had sent, threatening hurting herself after Combs dissolved her job. Defense attorneys implied these messages undermined her allegations. If she truly endured horrific mistreatment, wouldn't losing this job be a relief rather than a trigger for thoughts of unaliving herself? Mia countered emotionally, describing how working for Combs had been her entire existence for years, her only reality. "It was the only world I knew," she explained, her voice breaking. Losing that role suddenly felt like having her life ripped apart, not liberation. These texts illustrated the psychological toll of prolonged trauma, highlighting Mia's emotional turmoil as proof, not contradiction, of her harm. Adding even more complexity, Mia revealed disturbing attempts by Combs to reach out after accusations first surfaced publicly through singer Cassie Ventura's high-profile legal action. According to Mia, Combs's bodyguard contacted her, casually downplaying the accusations as typical relationship drama. Then, shockingly, Combs himself allegedly attempted direct contact, texting Mia personally, claiming he needed help jogging his memory. Mia recounted her visceral reaction, throwing her phone away in panic, unable to handle the trauma resurfacing. Prosecutors hinted this was part of a broader pattern, claiming Combs also tried to influence another witness by offering financial favors and subtle pressure, a chilling suggestion that sent a ripple of tension through the courtroom. Just when the case seemed as complicated as possible, a jaw-dropping political twist emerged. Former President Donald Trump publicly stated he'd consider pardoning Combs if convicted. Speaking casually to reporters, Trump mentioned he'd review the case, hinting that if he believed Combs had been treated unfairly, a pardon might be on the table. This unexpected intervention raised immediate, troubling questions about power, influence, and justice. Would Combs' celebrity connections save him from accountability? Could political interference overshadow the courtroom's pursuit of truth? As the trial continues to unfold, the stakes grow ever higher, the testimony more chilling, and the controversies deeper. Sean "Diddy" Combs, a figure once admired worldwide, now stands accused of appalling crimes, allegations made all the more compelling by Mia's raw, emotional accounts of manipulation and survival. Yet, with aggressive defenses, political intrigue, and potential presidential involvement, the ultimate verdict is anything but certain. Viewers and jurors alike are left grappling with uncomfortable questions about power, fame, and the complex realities of toxic control, and whether true justice is even possible in such a high-profile case.